back, I'm Di, and today I'm bringing you my April wrap-up. In April, I read 3 books and 3 volumes of manga. So, I'm just gonna tell you right now, I gave everything 4 stars again this month. Nothing was really under par for me this month. But again, nothing that I really loved, even though I really enjoyed the books that I read. So let's just get into it. The first book I read was The Dollmaker, which is the second book in the Forgotten Files mystery series by Mary Burton. This was a read I started in March for March Mystery Madness, and it carried over to April. I did win a Kindle copy of this book from a Goodreads giveaway, just so you know, but that does not change or affect my review in any way. This one I really enjoyed as a sequel. Now, second books in series usually kind of leave me let down a little bit. I think this one was different because it's not a sequel, it's a companion novel, and so we're following different characters from the first book, and there's not an underlying mystery or storyline throughout. So I did enjoy this one as much as I did the first book in this series, which was The Shark. This one follows FBI agent Dakota Sharp, and he has something in his past that he can't get over. He lost his younger sister when she was in college, and the manner of her death bothers him a lot and still does to this day. And he is convinced that she was murdered, but nobody else seems to believe him. And so he gets this case, and the serial killer has been dubbed the Dollmaker because the victims that he leaves are made to look like porcelain dolls. In the midst of investigating the Dollmaker, he also is dealing with the re-entrance of his estranged wife into his life. His estranged wife's name is Tessa, and she is a medical examiner, and she just happens to be working this case as well. Like I said, I really enjoyed this book. As pieces started to click together in regards to the mystery, it just got more and more interesting for me. And didn't know who the killer was. I should say I didn't know what the motive was for the killer until very late in the book, because you do get 2 points of views, or maybe 3. I'd say 3 points of views, because you see them from Sharp, you see it from Tessa, and you also see it from the killer. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and I will be continuing into the next book of this series. I believe there are only 3 so far out in this series, but the author does have other series, so I'm interested to see what types of works those are, and I will be checking those out in the future as well. The next book I read was March's selection for the Book 1 Cozies Club, and it was also on my to-read list for March Mystery Madness, and that is Off Kilter by Hannah Reid. This is the first book in the Scottish Highlands mystery series. This one follows Eden Elliott, and she has just lost her mom. She's kind of going through a time in her life where she really needs a change and a fresh start. And so at the urging of her best friend, who happens to be a best-selling romance novelist, she decides that she wants to try her hand at writing a romance novel. So she is on an open-ended trip to Scotland, and while she's on the plane, she makes friends with the lady who's sitting next to her, whose name is Vicky. Yes, Vicky. And Vicky has just come into an inheritance. Her father has passed away and left her his estate. So she's traveling to Scotland not only for his funeral, but to take care of all of the last minute arrangements and the inheritance and things like that. Because of the inheritance, it's found out that there is a disagreement from some of her step-siblings in regards to how the will was made. So much so that after the funeral is done and everybody's, having a meal, there's this argument and Vicky leaves, very upset. Eden goes to find her and they stumble upon the local sheep shearer's body. Because Vicky was the one to talk to him last, she becomes the main suspect. But to Eden, it looks very much like she's being set up, and it may have something to do with the inheritance. Eden does a little bit of investigation to try to see if she can clear Vicky's name. I did really enjoy this one. If you had watched my March Mystery Madness wrap-up, you'll know that I was having a really slow time consuming this one because the accent, or brogue, I guess you call it, is actually written into the sentences. It's not something that you perceive in your head. The words are actually spelled like you would hear them in the accent. So I would have to read sentences 2 or 3 times to understand what was being said. I think an audiobook would have helped me a lot with this, but unfortunately my library did not have a copy of it. Nonetheless, I really enjoyed this one. Curious to see where this series goes because she's only supposed to be there for a certain amount of time, even though it says that she's there on an open-ended trip. So yeah, I'm really curious to see what other adventures she stumbles into in Scotland, and I will definitely be continuing with this series. The third book I read was the 6th installment in the Other series by Anne Bishop. If you follow me on any of my social media, you know that I absolutely adore the Other series. It was something that really grabbed my attention. And this 6th book is actually focused in a different area of the world in the Others, and it also follows a different set of characters. So while I enjoyed this one quite a bit, and I really enjoyed being back in this world, it just didn't have the same feeling, I guess, as the books that are set in the courtyard for me. This one follows Vicky, and she runs a small resort next to Lake Silence, and she has a nasty ex-husband, and the ex-husband wants the resort back, even though it was given to her in the divorce agreement. And so not only do we meet Vicky, who has this past of dealing with this kind of abusive ex-husband, but we meet new sheriff, we meet some new Terra Indigene. We also get more interaction with the elders, which I especially liked. And this one was more focused on one of the Crow Guard. She's very prominent in this story because she is a resident at the resort that Vicky runs. I follow Anne Bishop on Facebook in her Courtyard Facebook group, and in the group she had posted that she felt the need to explain where the story of Lake Silence came from, and that the idea she had was that it would be a Crow Guard cozy. So if you are familiar at all with this world, there are bookstores that cater to the Terra Indigene. Stories like, humans have. Mysteries, suspense novels, romance novels, but they feature the Terra Indigene as the main characters. So think about a cozy mystery, for example, but the main character is not human, it's one of the Crow Guard. So I thought that was a really interesting take on this. I don't believe that we will be continuing to see how Vicky's story continues in this world. It kind of feels like the next novels are going to be companion novels, which I'm totally okay with, because I really enjoy this world, and every little picture of different places in this world really interests me. And so yeah, looking forward to the next one. You may not know this about me, but I do not usually read books that are in series that are up to date. I will usually wait a ginormous long time before I start a series, because in case I get hooked on the books or the story or the characters or anything, I don't want to have to wait for books to come out. This is one of the few series that I started late, yes, but I read through the books so fast that I got up to when the books were releasing, and it's really hard for me to try to forget that it's going to be another year before I get another book in this series. But I do enjoy them a lot. I do highly recommend them, and I talk about them all the time. So if you enjoy your paranormal mysteries, I definitely think you'll enjoy the other series by Anne Bishop. Now to the manga that I read. I read 3 volumes of Fairy Tail, volumes 51, 52, and 53. This is by Hiro Mashima. I have really been enjoying this series. I think we're getting to the end. And yeah, the Fairy Tail members are really likable. I like to see what they're up to. They're always on some kind of adventure. Where we are in this one, they have been working on increasing their magical abilities. So seeing all the work that's been done and all of the things that they've learned has been very interesting. And yeah, I'm really going to be sad when this series is over. We have not watched any more of the anime, so we are not up to where we have read, but I do enjoy the anime as well, and we'll be continuing on with that as soon as we can get the next few volumes in from my library. So yeah, that is everything I read in April. So I'm going to try to at least read one book in May that is middle grade, for middle grade May. I do have several books that I've been meaning to reread or read that I've had since I was a teen. So I'm really excited to get to those actually. And I still have Kingdom Keepers, which I plan to read in March. So good, fun books. I'm really getting back into the swing of things, I think. Physical books do still take me a longer time to read, so I do still enjoy my audiobook time. But yeah, let me know if you've read any of these, or if you're interested in any of these. And I hope you are all doing great. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.